In the damp north, where timber should fail quickly, Viking wood continues to defy time. Ship planks pulled from fjords remain sound. Roof beams, set when sagas were still being told, survive in open air. Modern pressure-treated lumber, coated and certified, often softens and splits within a few decades under the same conditions. This contrast is not romantic exaggeration. It is the result of a preservation method built on understanding how wood actually decays. Vikings did not try to seal wood into submission. They altered the wood itself, guided moisture movement, and accepted maintenance as part of durability. That approach, centered on pine tar, fire, and intelligent design, still outperforms many modern products because it works with biology rather than against it. Viking preservation began with choosing the right moment, not the right product. Viking builders knew that the future of a beam was decided before it ever touched a tool. Trees were felled in late autumn or winter, when sap content was lowest. Sap carries sugars, and sugars feed decay fungi and insects. Cutting during dormancy meant starting with timber already resistant to rot. After felling, wood was not rushed into use. Logs and planks were stacked to allow full airflow and left to season slowly. This preserved internal resins and prevented cracking that traps moisture. Modern builders can apply this immediately by harvesting wood only during dormant seasons and allowing extended air drying when long-term durability matters. Fire was used to transform wood, not destroy it. One of the most effective Viking techniques was controlled surface charring. Wood exposed to soil contact, splash zones, or constant weather was lightly burned until the surface carbonized. This created a layer that insects could not digest, and fungi struggled to penetrate. It also closed surface pores, reducing water absorption while allowing vapor to escape. This was not a cosmetic treatment, you know. It was a functional transformation. Posts, foundation supports and ship components were commonly treated this way. For modern use, you just lightly burn the surface of dry wood until it blackens evenly, then brush off any loose ash. This method is particularly effective for fence posts, shed supports, and, well, any timber that can't be easily replaced later. Pine tar was the core preservative that, honestly, modern products still struggle to match. The heart of Viking preservation was pine tar, produced by slowly heating resin-rich pine roots and wood in oxygen-poor pits. This process concentrated the tree's natural defense compounds into a substance that really penetrated deeply into wood fibers. Pine tar did not harden into a brittle shell. Instead, it remained flexible, even in freezing temperatures, and, shed water efficiently. Viking ships depended on it to survive salt water and constant movement. Roof shingles, walls and tools received the same treatment. A modern application follows the same principles. Wood must be fully dry. Pine tar is gently warmed until it flows, then brushed on in thin coats. Multiple applications over time allow deep penetration. Mixing pine tar with boiled linseed oil improves absorption and curing, a combination documented in later Nordic tradition. This treatment remains superior to many synthetic sealants for outdoor wood. Breathability was the advantage modern sealants often ignore. Viking preservation succeeded because it repelled liquid water without trapping moisture inside. Modern sealants often fail when small cracks allow water in but prevent it from escaping. This creates ideal conditions for internal rot. Pine tar, charred surfaces and natural oils work together to allow wood to breathe. After rain, moisture could leave the timber instead of remaining locked inside. This is why Viking wood often dried quickly and avoided long-term dampness. Anyone preserving wood today should honestly prioritize penetrating treatments over hard surface coatings, especially in climates with freeze-thaw cycles. Natural chemistry strengthened joints rather than weakening them. Vikings frequently paired iron fasteners with tannin-rich woods like oak. When iron oxidizes in contact with tannins, it forms iron tannate, a compound that's resistant to decay. This reaction darkened the wood, but increased durability around joints. This explains why Viking and medieval beams around iron hardware often remain solid centuries later. Modern builders can replicate this by pairing untreated iron with oak or chestnut, or by applying iron solutions made from iron scraps soaked in vinegar. So, design-ensured preservation could actually succeed. Viking preservation was, really supported by design choices. Beams were lifted off soil onto stone bases, which made a huge difference. Roofs were steep and shed water quickly, while overhangs protected the walls. And end grain was shielded through joinery rather than left exposed. Buildings were designed to dry rapidly, not to be sealed airtight. This, in turn, prevented the stable damp conditions fungi require to thrive. Preservation methods worked because design allowed them to. Anyone building today can honestly apply this by ensuring wood never sits directly in soil, by allowing airflow beneath floors, and by protecting vulnerable grain ends from direct exposure. So, why do modern products struggle to compete, you might wonder? Well, modern preservation products tend to prioritize things like speed, uniformity, and appearance above all else. In contrast, Viking methods were all about longevity, repairability, and adaptability. Pine tar, for example, can be renewed over time. Charred surfaces? Those can be refreshed too. And when something goes wrong, the failures are visible and, importantly, correctable. Now, these methods, let's be clear, were not abandoned because they failed. They were left behind simply because they did not fit with, the demands of industrial timelines. So, why does this Viking method still matter? For restorers, homesteaders, and survival-minded builders, Viking preservation offers, proven and low-tech solutions that actually work without relying on fragile supply chains. These methods have already survived more than 1,000 winters, which is no small feat. If this guide has, strengthened your understanding of historical craftsmanship that still outperforms modern shortcuts, then go ahead and subscribe to The Beginning for more deep, practical history that remains relevant today. And please share this with anyone who builds, restores, or values knowledge proven by time rather than marketing. History stays alive when its lessons continue to solve real problems.